The views and opinions expressed by individuals on this program are for educational purposes only and should be used as a guide. It is strongly recommended to seek professional advice before making any decisions.
Welcome to the Anonymous Investor Podcast, where real estate meets artificial intelligence. This episode of the Anonymous Investor Podcast is brought to you by Suburbs Finder, the ultimate property research tool.
Honestly, Suburbs Finder is a fantastic tool. It allows you to quickly identify and assess suburbs.
See the whole host of analytics and data that you can get at your fingertips.
It can help you forecast over the 30 years. It has really good information.
Suburbs Finder guides you through every step of your investment journey. And now, here are your awesome AI hosts, Sam and Boris.
Hi, I'm Sam, your AI co-host. I'm all about data and trends.
And I'm Boris, your AI co-host. I'm all about strategy and risk.
We're
your Suburbs Finder AI team, combining data and strategy to help you succeed in real estate investing. Have fun listening to our episode today.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something a little different today. We're talking real estate investing, but not the way you might think.
Yeah, we're going beyond the numbers today.
Exactly. We're going beyond spreadsheets and digging into the surprising art hidden within real estate.
You know, people think it's all about crunching numbers.
Right. But there's this whole intuitive side, this poetic science, that can really make or break your success as an investor.
It's about mastering both the analytical and the gut feeling.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to uncover today. But first, gotta lay some groundwork. We'll touch on the familiar stuff. Rental yields, cash flow, even dip our toes into transaction engineering.
Those are the building blocks.
Exactly. Yeah. Gotta make sure we're all on the same page, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out.
Solid numbers are crucial, of course.
Absolutely. But think about it. Have you ever run the numbers on two properties and they look almost identical on paper?
Happens all the time.
But one just feels better.
There you go. That's where things get interesting.
It's like those cooking shows, right? Two chefs, same ingredients, one dish just pops.
It's the little things you know. Same neighborhood, same square meter. Maybe even the numbers look similar on paper, but one property just feels right.
How do you even put a finger on that, though?
It's a combination of factors. The vendor's motivation, maybe the overall vibe of the neighborhood, even something as simple as how the light hits that back porch.
So it's like those subtle cues, those gut feelings, they're actually telling us something important.
Exactly. But it's not just about following your gut blindly. It's about using those feelings to guide your research, to ask the right questions. Let's say you're at a showing and the landlord is like, oh yeah, my tenants are super easygoing. An active investor, they're not just taking that at face value.
They're thinking, okay, what am I not seeing here?
Exactly. They might dig a little deeper, look at the lease agreements, and realize there's a history of late payments. Suddenly, that easygoing tenant situation doesn't seem so straightforward anymore.
They're reading between the lines.
Exactly. Or imagine you're in the middle of a negotiation. But purely analytical approach might be, how do I squeeze every last dollar out of this deal? But a skilled investor understands it's not always about the lowest price. Maybe offering a slightly higher price with a faster closing date? Well, that might be way more attractive to a vendor who's in a hurry.
It's about understanding what makes them tick.
Exactly. Finding those win-win solutions. And it reminds me, those off-market deals everyone's always chasing after.
Right. Always seem like some kind of secret society, knowing the right people, getting in on the ground floor.
Well, there is an element of networking for sure, but it's not just luck.
So how do they do it?
Think about it. You consistently show up. You deliver on your promises. You build a reputation for being fair and easy to work with. Suddenly, you're not just another investor, you're a trusted partner.
Word gets around.
Exactly. Real estate agents start calling you before properties hit the market because they know you're good for it. That's poetic science in action.
Okay, this is all starting to click now, but it makes you wonder, are some people just wired for this? Like, are some of us just naturally better at this whole poetic science thing?
I wouldn't say better, but we all have our natural inclinations, right? Some people gravitate towards numbers, others are more people-oriented. Let's break down a few investor archetypes, if you will.
Okay, let's do it. What kind of investor am I? Or maybe the better question is, what kind of investor do I want to be?
Right. Well, let's start with the passive investor. Imagine someone inherits a chunk of change and based purely on a hot tip, throws it all into a rental property, no research, no due diligence.
Just in with their gut.
Pretty much. Maybe they heard a friend of a friend made a killing in that neighborhood, or they just fell in love with the place. Now, it could work out, but it's a risky approach, relying solely on emotions or hearsay.
Yeah, I can see how that could backfire.
Big time. On the flip side, we've got the analytical investor. This is your spreadsheet guru, the one who devours market reports, analyzes every single detail. But sometimes they can get stuck in that analysis loop,
Analysis paralysis.
Exactly. They end up missing out on good deals because they're waiting for that perfect opportunity that may or may not exist.
Too busy thinking to actually act.
Precisely. Now, the sweet spot, the investor who consistently finds success, that's what we call the active investor.
Okay, so what's their secret?
They strike that balance. They're doing their due diligence, understanding the market, but they're also paying attention to those subtle cues, building relationships, trusting their gut when it whispers, hey, something's not quite right here.
They're not afraid to walk away, even if the numbers look good.
Exactly. Because they know there's always another deal around the corner. They're playing a long game.
So much to unpack here, but let's bring it all home. How can our listeners actually put this poetic science into practice?
It's about building a well-rounded skill set. Think of it like a good toolkit, right?
I got the analogy.
You need the right tools for the job, and in real estate, that means honing those analytical skills. You got to understand market trends, know your financial calculators, and, of course, do your due diligence. But it doesn't stop there.
So those spreadsheets we talked about earlier, don't toss them out just yet. But how do we sharpen that other side, that intuitive edge?
Observation is key. Next time you're talking to a selling agent, really pay attention. Are they making eye contact? Does their body language line up with their words? Are they rushing the conversation? Or do they seem genuinely interested in finding the right buyer for their property?
Wow, I never even thought about those things. It's amazing how much we communicate without even realizing it.
It's huge. And then, of course, there's negotiation. That back and forth, a give and take.
Always a tough one for me. Tend to overthink it, Want to make sure everyone's happy.
Well, remember, negotiation isn't about being a pushover. It's about finding common ground while still advocating for your own interests. And the better you understand people, their motivations, their needs, the more effectively you can negotiate win-win solutions. There were some great resources out there, too. Books like Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. He's a former FBI hostage negotiator, so talk about high-stakes negotiation. But his insights are incredibly relevant even in real estate.
Negotiating a real estate deal with the tactics of an FBI hostage negotiator, I kind of love it.
It's about understanding the psychology behind the deal. And that's what we've been talking about this whole time, right? It's not just about the numbers, it's about the people.
The art within the science. This has been an incredible deep dive, really eye-opening. So as we wrap up, any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
Trust your gut, but train it too. Never stop learning. And remember, real estate investing, it's not just about transactions. It's about building something lasting.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to our listeners out there, think back to a time when you made a decision based on both logic and intuition. Maybe it was a job offer, a creative project, or even just deciding which apartment to rent. How did you weigh those factors? How did it feel when you found that sweet spot, that balance between your head and your gut? Now imagine bringing that same approach to your investments. That's the power of poetic science in action. Until next time.
If this is the type of information you like to learn about, why not subscribe to the channel? If you subscribe to Suburbs Finder now, I will not look for you, I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you, I will find you, and I will give you a big bear hug.